Okay, so we'll start, guys, about operating system. We discussed about a hardware part, right? Hardware means about your CPU, RAM, BIOS, what is that? Another one like a motherboard, hard disk, NICs. These are all hardware components. Like you have a hardware. Now you want to run an application or you want to give some input command. Okay. You want to run an application or maybe you want to give some kind of instructions or a command to do any some task. Okay. From your side means user want to give some kind of command. Okay. Want to create some file in the hard disk. I want to read the content in the hard disk. I want to run some kind of applications. Okay. So I need an interaction, right? So for to do anything, so what I need is an interface. Okay. Who is providing this interface? Is our operating system. Your operating system. So operating system is an interface between your hardware and user or end user. Operating system is in between user. Operating system provide user interface. Operating system provide user interface, run user applications. Okay. So and also it interact with the hardware. It is what operating system. Operating system is a software that act as an interface between end user, means user, I'm an end user. I'm a user, right? And computer hardware. Every computer must have at least one voice. Without voice, you can't communicate with your computer, can't use your computer. At least one operating system is required to run other programs. You want to run an applications like Google Chrome browser or Microsoft Word, Microsoft Teams, games. These are all applications only. To need some environment which it will run and perform its task. Operating system help you to communicate with a computer without knowing how to speak computer language. OS help you to communicate with a computer without knowing how to speak computer language. What is computer language? Maybe a binary language, right? You want to give any instructions to do certain tasks. You have to give in the computer base, either hexadecimal numbers or binary numbers, or maybe assembly language. You have to feed one by one, line by line instructions you have to give to do some simple tasks. If you know this 8085 or 8086 programming, so will that time you write a program, move A comma 10, move A comma B comma 10. Okay, add A plus B, return. Like that's assembly language. Assembly language is also little higher level language. Okay. That's again you are giving some instructions with certain interfaces. Okay. But still it is very difficult to give that kind of instruction. Nowadays, not in nowadays, we started using a computer itself, we have an operating system. Through that one, we are working either CLI mode or GUI mode. We are using our computer, right? With help of voice, we are able to interact with our computer. It's not possible for user to use any computer or mobile device without having operating system. Without voice, You can't use your system because you don't know how to interact with your system. That's about your OS. As I said, guys, again, operating system interact, provide user interface, interact with your user, provide environment to run applications, provide environment to give commands, right? Provide environment to run applications, provide user interfaces, okay, interact with the user. That part of operating system, we call it as shell. And operating system interact with the hardware. Operating system also interact with the hardware. That's we call it as kernel. That we call it as kernel. So OS architecture, OS is two parts. One is kernel part, another one is shell part. Kernel part of OS interact with your hardware. It communicate with your hardware devices. Manage your hardware devices. Okay. Kernel interact with your hardware. Manages hardware like a disk management, process management, network management, memory management. These all will done by your kernel part of operating system. How about a shell? Shell interacts with user, provide user interfaces, run user applications, run user commands. Okay. So if you see this diagram, so the center one is hardware because when I'm using my system, I'm interacting with my system. Means that's shell. Send, understand what you want to do, what command you are giving, what application you are opening. So it will understand and convert kernel understandable language. Kernel understand. So from your interactions through with the shell, so kernel understand and convert into hardware understandable. Hardware run that one in the process and generate an output, and it will give it to the kernel, kernel to shell, shell user able to see what is the output. Simple. Okay. We will get back, guys. In operating system, two parts. Operating system, two parts. Kernel, shell. Kernel interact with the hardware, shell interact with the user. Okay. Kernel manages hardware related, like disk management, process management, network management, memory management. These are all so many network kernel based. Shell is provide a user interface. Okay, interact with the user. These different shells also available. I added it, but not important. But still, if you go to Linux, Linux shell, what is we are using is Bash shell. So different shells are there. Depends upon the operating system and manufacturer of the operating system. Different shells are available. User interface. User interfaces. In the Windows, what we interface we are using is GUI, graphical user interface we are using in Windows. Windows, Mac, we use GUI only. Linux, Unix based operating system are CLI as well as GUI is also there, mainly CLI based command line interfaces only. Okay. Certain operating systems are CLI only, some are GUI only, some are little mixing. TY, thermal based or text based user interfaces. These are just a kind of environment. Like it's not a GUI, not CLI. So they will provide some option. You go to an option, it will display something and you have to check it. Simple example of this TUI screen with a NMTUI. See, it is not fully graphical. It's a text-based only, means command line interface, but you will get this direct options to select and you can do it. So NMTUI is for network management related. Okay, so you can use that one. user interfaces. Understand, guys, up to here? Okay. Next, different types of operating system. Different types of operating system. Here it is in different types of OS, different ways of different types of OSs are there. One is like simple operating system, network operating system. Simple operating system is like a desktop OS. Network operating system is a server operating system. Desktop OS is for running your desktop-based applications of games, browsers, multimedia, programming, end user device. Means we are all using different things, right? We are end users. Okay, example, your Windows 10, Windows 11, simple operating system only. Network operating system. The OS is generally it is server operating system. Meaning is servers provide services. Different servers. Okay, will provide different type of service. A web server provide web-based websites. Okay, DHCP server will give you IP address. Okay, like that. So mail server provide mail-based services, right? So this server operating system, we can able to install server-based applications and configure it, and it will provide the different types of services through network. That's it is NYS, network operating system. Example, Windows Server 2025, 2022, 2019, like Linux operating system are generally server-based operating system. Unix also same for server purpose. Next, user and task. User and task. Types of operating system. Single user, single task. Single user, multitask. Multi-user, multitask. Single user, single task, we are not using anything like MS-DOS, we are not using, right? Means only one user can log in, interact, and only one task we can do it. First task completed, then only we do the second task. Single user, single task. Okay. Single user multitask is important. Single user multitask. In your Windows system, only one user can log into a system, either directly or indirectly. Only one user can log in at a time. Single user, multiple. So multiple tasks we can able to do it. Like example is Windows OS. All Windows OS, generally it is single user type. Only one user can log in at a time. But multiple tasks you can able to run at a time. Multi-user, multitask. So Linux, Unix based OSs are multi-user, multitask. Means multiple users can log into same system, either directly or remotely, as well as multiple tasks you can able to run. Okay, multiple tasks we can able to single user, single task, single user, multitask, multi-user, multitasking. Next, real-time operating system, RTL. Real-time operating. This real-time operating system are specifically designed for a specific type of hardware for specific type of function purpose. Or Windows or Linux are not real-time because it can use in a different hardware and total control with the that manufacture that operating system like from Microsoft or Red Hat like that. A real-time operating system, it is total control over their updates. Okay, application performance wise also easy faster. It does not contain any other common applications. Distributed voice. The voice runs on the multiple machines. You can search for the distributed voice later. Distributed operating system, distributed computing, distributed other things. Operating system. Okay. Next, mobile operating system. Different mobile operating system are there nowadays. Android, iOS is more famous. But before that one, Symbian. Nokia used Symbian OS in their small phones, featured phones, even smartphones also. BlackBerry, the BlackBerry is a started this BlackBerry mobile phones. BlackBerry is still owning that operating system. Okay. So QWERTY keypad mobile phones introduced from BlackBerry or Windows Phone. Windows Phone, Microsoft build that OS. Most of the people knows from Lumina series, but before that one only, the Windows build a mobile operating system for other companies like AT&T, HTC, kind of stuff. Okay. So these are the different types of operating system. Types of operating system. Different voices. Different voices are different. Types is different. Different voice means Windows OS, Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server. Okay, different voices for Linux base. In Linux, lot of compression. Set voice, Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, SUSE, Solaris, HP UX, Mac OS. These are all different operating systems. Windows, Linux, Mac, Unix. These are different operating systems. Guys, I added one more point here. It is Windows OS version and edition. Guys, Windows is an operating system from Microsoft. Version Windows 10 or Windows 11 version. And these editions, Home Edition, Pro Edition, Enterprise Editions. So this is Windows 10 or Windows 11 is version. Pro or Enterprise or Home, these are editions only. Pro and Enterprises having additional features compared to Home Edition. I added some questions asked in a previous batch interviews. Also, I added that part. So what is this? What's the difference between web browser and operating system? Difference between RAM and hard disk. Okay. And previous batch, they got another question. What's the difference between Windows 10 and Windows 11? So what OS you are currently using? The guy said Windows 11. What OS you are earlier you used? Windows 10. Then tell me the difference. Windows and Linux differences. Okay. We'll see this one and take a very small break, just 5 minutes only. Okay. So back at 12:35. Okay, relax and do it. Okay. You should take more breaks. The differences we'll see that. Just 5 minutes, relax.